Hey guys, this is Richie Daggs. Some of you may know who I am from having produced several television programs in the past for fitness, bodybuilding, martial arts, etc. All of the links to my work are in the description below. I wanted to take the time today to share with everyone my story. There's a lot of speculation and scrutiny that I've been under over the past maybe 7 years, ever since the proliferation of social media, the internet, what have you. I produced 3 shows from 2004 up until 2013. And over that span of time, I've had the privilege of meeting amazing people, working with amazing people, having great sponsors, making money, losing a lot of money, obtaining sponsors, losing sponsors. And along the way, I've always had the best intention, which was to present the sport of bodybuilding in its best possible light as a tool that people can use to empower themselves and better their lives on many levels. I find that bodybuilding and fitness is a sport that's open to everyone from all walks of life, and giving everyone an equal opportunity and a level playing field to be featured and create other opportunities for themselves in life, okay? I want to talk about domestic violence today, because domestic violence is something that has had a tremendous impact on my life, and it may have impact on your life or someone that you know as well. So my story is, I was raised in upstate New York in a single parent household, and I was surrounded by drugs, domestic violence, guns, you name it, right? And I was totally desensitized to what domestic violence even was, because I had grown accustomed to it. That's not an excuse, but I'm presenting to you my perception of what domestic violence was. So when I found myself in the midst of a situation where I was behaving in a way that was completely unacceptable, I wasn't even able to identify that it was a problem, because I had seen it my whole life and no one ever really corrected anyone, or there was never any consequences for the domestic violence versus that I saw my mother endure. Like, there was never any consequences. It was just a way of life, I guess. So fast forward to, me becoming a young man in my early 20s, and I had a couple of relationships, one relationship in particular where I notably remember doing domestic violence, like slapping this young lady who actually was the mother of one of my sons. And I remember specifically slapping her and abusing her and just acting really crazy. So when I left that environment after 5 years, that relationship, and I relocated to Florida, I got into a relationship and I saw, I didn't see any of those behaviors at all. And then when the young lady broke up with me and broke it off, I went off the deep end and was crying and suicidal, and can't live without you, please let's stay together. And all of this conversation and pleading happened at her home, okay, in her house, in her apartment, and I wouldn't let her leave. Now, she was 31 years old and I was 24 years old, and we had been together for about 2 years, okay? So by me restraining her, physically restraining her and preventing her from leaving, that is domestic violence. By me physically touching her and not letting her leave, that is domestic violence. By me, telling her I'm gonna hurt myself, I'm gonna hurt you too, and that's domestic violence. But it went once when I asked her to let's be together physically, let's make love one last time, and let's make up and figure it out, and combined with I was physically not letting her leave, therefore I was charged with attempted sexual battery, okay? Attempted sexual battery. And that charge led to me being on a sex offender registry, okay? And which is really unfair, because I learned from that situation, I learned from that experience, I learned and identified how my behaviors were wrong and how not to do that in the future. I went to a lot of therapy classes, which was court ordered, but it did give me some insight as to the pattern and how the seeds were planted where I was desensitized to this, okay? So I learned early on in the legal process that this behavior was totally wrong, and I learned why and how. Like I never was like, oh, pointed the finger back at her. Nobody deserves that, So now as a father of a daughter, if someone did that to my daughter, it would be a real big problem. So, but I wasn't looking at it like that at 24 years old. I was still very codependent and immature, and I couldn't see life past this person, which we all know sometimes. Sometimes people go to a dark place where a relationship ends, they feel like they can't live anymore, they don't want to go on, but that's not the case. You can go on. So what I want to say is that for anyone out there who is experiencing domestic violence, or especially the men who know that they have a problem and they know that they hit their girlfriend or they curse at her or they do abusive behaviors, and if you do, and maybe you want to stop, like maybe you looking for a way out. I went on Google and I searched domestic violence help for men, and everything was pretty much from a rehabilitative standpoint. In other words, everything was after something already happens. Like, why not create something where men can say, you know what, I love my wife, I love my girlfriend, and every time I get mad, I get out of control and I really want to stop. Like, identify that and then call the number below. There's a number in the description that you can use to get help. And for women who are being battered, are a ton of resources, but there's also a link listed below. So if I can help one person from not being harmed or injured, like a woman or a child, and if I can stop one little boy from growing up and beating a woman or hurting a woman, then it was worth it. If I have to be the face of domestic violence, because that's what got me my label. So when people look at my accomplishments, they don't just look at my accomplishments, they look at this guy's a sex offender, or people try to miscategorize me as a sexual predator, which is something to do with kids, which is totally not at all what my charge was about. But sometimes people will take that and try to just leave it in an open context, or try to present it in a way where they don't clarify why I have that label on me. So I've had that label on for almost 20 years, and 20 years I'm eligible to get it removed. It has caused a lot of hurdles in my life, but being homeless and having no money and having to move 40 times, 45 times over the course of these 20 years, starting over, losing business because of this conviction, losing sponsors. Like, when sometimes people only see that I failed, they don't see what the elements were that led up to me failing, because I don't disclose that. My life is very private, but a lot of times when projects that I was involved with, for instance, my reality show failed, there's a lot of other things, underpinnings underneath that if one pin comes out, the whole thing can collapse. And sometimes my background is something that has led to me taking a hit financially, or losing a sponsor where, boom, now it's back to ground zero. And that's not to invoke pity from anyone, but I do want people to understand and put in context what some may deem as a failure to me. A lot of times it's truly due to circumstances beyond my control. That circumstances that exist due to my actions, yes, but at this point, 20 years later, I'm still paying for this mistake over and over again. So, if in the process I can help someone stop being abused, because that is the root of a lot of my failures, and I guess you can only call them failures if you didn't learn from them. And I guess I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it didn't happen to me. sometimes you have to lose what's the things that are the most important to you in order for you to open up and be who you really are, and maybe evolve to the next level of your life. And this is something that some of the best people that I know around me have been telling me to come out, utilize YouTube and utilize the resources that you have to tell your story. And I guess I was ashamed this whole time, and of the mistakes that I made, and ashamed, So, but the longer that I allow that shame to hold me back from expressing myself and sharing with you guys and maybe helping somebody, the longer that I hold back from sharing my story, then the longer there is an opportunity for someone else not to get help, right? So, I want to thank everyone who believed in me enough to sponsor me and sponsor my projects and my ideas, and hopefully in the future we can make things the way that they're meant to be. And hopefully I reach someone with this video. If you have a problem with domestic violence and you want help, and you really love the people around you, your spouse, your lover, your children, and you really want to stop, but you don't know how. There's no numbers to call. I looked it up. Maybe there are, maybe I missed them, but I'm going to leave my personal business number below, and you can call us. You can speak to me directly, okay? And if you leave me a message, I will call you back. But for everyone out there who is being abused, to the women, there's also information below that can help you. You don't have to be a victim anymore. You don't have to be scared. Because I remember the feeling when I was a kid watching my mom get beaten. And I asked myself the other day, what is the feeling that I felt? And one word just immediately came, and I didn't have to think that long. I said, helplessness. So I know what it feels like to be on the other side, but I was an abuser for a while. And the thing that I actually got into legal trouble for was not even the worst degree of the things that I had done to a woman, So I just want you guys all to know that there is help, and people are not defined by their past or their mistakes, and people do change. So I hope that you all can love one another. I hope you all appreciate this video, and please leave your comments below, keep them positive, and if you need help, or if you know someone who needs help, send them this link. And time to start the healing process. Okay, so thank you for your time. Look for us, look for me at RichieDaggs.com. Look for me at BlackMuscleMagazine.com. Look for us, and we'll look for you.